All right, I've got some big plans lined up for the next 2 weeks here of spring walleye fishing, and thought I'd shoot a really quick video just breaking down the 3 setups that I'm going to be reaching for first these next 2 weeks. So let's jump right in. All right, so first things first, I have my classic live bait jigging setup. So with all 3 of these setups, I'm actually going to run through the rod, the reel, the line, and of course the presentation itself. So this is my live bait jigging setup. I have an 1/8 ounce on there. For me, in springtime, 1/8 ounce is definitely king. So I'll use black jigs, I'll use these whiter jigs, chartreuse, blue, all different types of colors. I will not be afraid to change out this exact jig, but this one right here, 1/8 ounce stand-up tungsten from Northland. This is just going to be a great all-around jig for me. I like the normal shank because that allows me to double hook a shiner on there. I can nose hook minnows as well, but then I can also thread a night crawler on here. And I've talked about night crawlers in spring in past videos, but that is going to be one presentation that I will often have ready. I have the jig on a 7'6" medium light power fast action rod. You could do extra fast as well for these jig setups, but this is a good versatile setup. I have it paired up with a 2000 size Illumix reel from Piscifun. I kind of ran these through the paces this winter, and my thought with reels is if they can hold up to ice fishing in the winter, then they're gonna have no problem in the summer. So far this spring, been happy, but 2000 size on this setup, just a good versatile all-around size for walleye fishing in the spring. And then the line, I actually have Suffix Revolve as my main line. This was a recommendation from my buddy Brett McComas. I have that in 10-pound test because this is a thinner diameter braid. I don't know exactly why they decide to call things 6-pound, 8-pound, 10-pound, but the diameter of this braid is definitely lighter than normal 10-pound. And then for the leader, I have probably 8 feet of fluorocarbon. And on my live bait jigging setup, I like to use 6-pound fluorocarbon just to be finesse. So that is a rundown on my live bait jigging setup. Now I'm going to show you the next one. All right, next up we have the jig and plastic setup. And for me, I like to think of the jig and plastic as my aggressive presentation in spring. Obviously, you can use rattle baits, you can use other types of crankbaits, but a jig and a plastic is something you can be really precise with. You can fish really efficiently, but you can still fish it kind of in an aggressive manner to get strikes from hungry spring walleyes. Right here, I have a 1/4 ounce jig head with a 4-inch paddle shad on the back. This is sort of like a versatile all-around color with the chartreuse head, and then sort of a chartreuse and green head, but then the white body in the back. I also like some of those darker colors as well, whether it's green pumpkin or black. Sometimes more minnowy type colors as well with some silvers and whatnot can be awesome too. But with the jig and plastic setup, I like to run this 7-foot medium light fast action. So a little bit of a shorter rod. You could use, the thing about spring fishing and you're using spinning rods, setups and whatnot, unless you're ripping a big rattle bait or something like that, you can get away with a very similar setup for all the different presentations that you're using. But this is 7-foot medium light fast action, and I have this one paired with a 2000 size Piscifun Carbon X2, which is another reel that held up good for me this winter, and I got the chance to use it this spring too when I ran out east for some spring walleye fishing. And then once again, I have this paired up with 10-pound revolve braid, and as you can see too, this is kind of the high vis braid. So when you're working that bait, you can see that line jump when a fish grabs it, even if it has a slack line, if you're ripping it and then letting it fall on a slack line. So I'll rip this bait, swim this bait, drag this bait. A couple other options I will play with as well is like a jig and a plastic minnow, like the eye candy minnow, or like a Ned rig setup. I love Ned rigs in spring as well. So that is setup number 2. I also have a fluorocarbon leader on this one as well, of course, but in this case, I'm upsizing the fluorocarbon to 8 pound because this is a little bit more hand-to-hand combat. You know, you're fishing harder, you're fishing faster with this aggressive jig and plastic setup. So you're moving it quicker. You don't necessarily need that 6 pound test. I actually think you could get away with 6 pound, but for me, I like to upsize to 8 pound for this situation. So that is the second setup. All right, last but definitely not least, you guys probably know that I love drop shots, but one thing you might not have known was that I like drop shots all year long. Doesn't matter if it's spring, doesn't matter if it's summer, doesn't matter if it's fall. Drop shot setup, I mean, I've done videos on this in the past. You guys probably have watched them, but number 2, size hook, a weight, you know, about 1.5 feet or so below the hook. This one is a 1/4 ounce. One thing I really do like about Northland's new drop shot weights is just the fact that they actually do put the size of the weight on the bottom. But I'm pairing that up with a 7'2" rod. So that's kind of like that happy medium. Some people when they're drop shot fishing, they like to use really light rods. I like to use something somewhat in between that 7 and 7.5 foot. So 7'2" is going to be a go-to, but I would be comfortable using you know, anywhere in that range for a drop shot as well. But one thing I do like to do, you know, that some of you do know, is I like to put like a little hair tie right there on the handle, if that's in focus or not. But you can see, you know, that's just a really easy way to put the weight down into there. So for the main line, once again, same exact line, 10 pound test, braided line. And then for the leader, I like to use 6 pound for drop shots because this is a real finesse presentation. So I like to use lighter line. But for me, what I like about drop shots is you can fish really, really efficiently in a lot of different types of locations and habitats. But this spring, when I'm going to be using this drop shot is when the fish are going to be getting really tentative. You know, I like jigs because you can fish them slow, you can fish them fast. But with a drop shot, I feel like you put, you know, a night crawler on this, you put a minnow on this, you can nose hook the minnow, tail hook it, you can put leeches on there, and you can just soak those baits in the zone. So if I see a little pot of 3 or 4 fish stacked up shallow, maybe on a weed line or something like that, I can flip this in there and just kind of slowly work it through the school. So that's what I like drop shots for. I have this also paired up with the 2000 size reel. This is the Carbon X2. So yeah, that's a quick rundown on my drop shot fishing setup. If you want a super in-depth rundown on the drop shot, you can look up my video. If you just, well, I'll put it in the description below. All right, there you have it. A quick rundown on the 3 setups that I'm gonna be reaching for first in the next 2 weeks. As I'm chasing walleyes. Like I said, I got some plans lined up for the next 2 weeks. And I just wanted to do a quick video and run through basically the rod, the reel, the line, the lures, the leaders, everything that I've got set up so you know how I'm set up in the weeks ahead. So just a quick video to give you a quick rundown. So hopefully you enjoyed it, and stay tuned. We got more walleye content coming, and go Wolves.